Hey Bungle, nice to see you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bungle. Hope you're doing well, and I hope you're having a great day. Today we're going over Enlisted, the more free-to-play first-person shooter. Did a quick poll, and overwhelmingly, surprisingly, people want me to talk about the great birthday sale of 2021 of Enlisted. You clicked this video because you were wondering what Bungle recommends to you. Now, if you're watching this, probably a first-time viewer, possibly a new subscriber, well, I kind of cover a lot of Enlisted content on my channel, and I've done pretty much all the reviews on premium squads, vehicles, etc. So, just establishing the baseline here, I know what I'm talking about. So, kind of what we're going to do here is, what I do here on my channel with my reviews and everything like that, I kind of call it the three-pronged strategy approach. And, I'm going to talk about here the value of each of these squads, vehicles, and stuff as we go through it. Does the cost justify the purchase? Next, we'll talk about the performance. Is it good? Is it bad? Or is it situational? Is it good in certain situations? Is it bad? And lastly, is it fun, right? At the end of the day, you're getting a premium squad to expedite your grind and Enlisted. That's objectively what you're trying to do with it. There's no credit making or anything like that, like War Thunder, World of Tanks, World of Warships. This is you expediting that campaign grind so you can unlock new vehicles. You can unlock the Panther, you can unlock the Jumbo, you can unlock the M10 Wolverine, but who am I kidding? No one's going to want to even grind for that. But anyways, we're going to go down the list. I got my notes here and everything, and we're going to talk about it. So, sales in the game. It is a good time to stock up on supplies for the year. Holiday sales wait for you in the logistics tab of each campaign. So basically the sale is ranging from the 10th all the way to the 16th of November 2021. So right away, they're going to go off the 50% off for PC bundles. Now, I think this is only exclusive on PC, so just keep that in mind. If you're on console and everything like that, I don't think this is going to be accessible to you just because it's on the Enlisted or Gaijin store. So going down the list, we have the Battle of Moscow machine gun bundle. My two cents on that is that there's really one good squad in it. The other squad's kind of okay. And what it is that you get the Russian and the Germans. The Germans get the MG, I think it's 13 or something like that. It's a very good machine gun, fires great. Done a review on that as well as the Russian equivalent. I think it gets a French machine gun, which basically is a semi-auto rifle. You can try to fire it fully automatic, but it's not really going to work too well for you. But basically the German machine gun, I think it gets 25 rounds. It's just great at just clearing. It melts enemies. It's one shots, a lot of enemies. It's great for crowd control. It's just a very, very, very good squad, and to pick it up for relatively cheap, I would highly recommend going with it. Now, the Soviet one, you get included with it. I mean, it's okay. It's there to help you out, but you got to keep in mind, you can't run around and expect to mow people down with it. It's like a semi-auto machine gun, and it's just kind of weird how it's set up. Going to the Battle of Moscow, talking about here, the value, is it good? And for the price, the MG13, the German one, yeah, definitely justified with that. The Soviets, you kind of just get it tossed in with it, in my opinion. I think it's very good. I think it's great. I think it's definitely a great bundle for, both sides. Of course, the Russian one's going to be a little weaker. I'm going to say it's just situational based because you got to set up in certain, areas and use it. And, you can't just run out to a clustered area and fire it down because recoil is going to go all over the place. And lastly, is it fun? And I would say the MG13, the Germans are fun. You may struggle a little bit if you're a new player, with just recoil management with a Soviet machine gun. So just keep that in mind. Now, moving on is the Invasion of Normandy bundle. Well, I'm going to tell you right away that yes, for the value, I would justify it. I recommend picking it up because the BAR is a great weapon platform and Enlisted for the Germans and the United States, because we're talking about Invasion of Normandy here. Both are great. Both are great platforms. They're very good, and it's really fun to use. I highly recommend it. Done a review on it. Check it out. Highly recommend picking that up. It's really fun and easy to use. Battle of Berlin. All right, the Assaulters bundle. So basically, the cost, I'm going to say, is justified up front because the Russians and the Germans, I think, get the MP41, which is just a weird double-edged mag reload mechanic, and the Soviets get basically a PPSH, but it's not a PPSH, it's PPD-40 DZ or whatever, but it plays like a PPSH. I think it fires, if not faster than that. It's insane. Both are great. Both are great for picking up, and you will enjoy. You will have total fun. Done a review on it. Definitely check it out down below. Now, this one is kind of situational based. I don't really like it that much. The Battle of Berlin Engineers bundle, honestly, I'm just going to, it's up to you. It's 50% off, but my personal opinion is that there's a lot of cons with that class. The Engineer is a good class, with setting up respawn points and getting you a lot of XP and stuff and people respawning on your respawn points. But it's really situational based. Both of those weapons are, because the German weapon that you get, and I've done a review on this one as well, so check it down below, but it's just, the sights are just garbage. And then the Soviets one, they get like 5 rounds for an SKS that's semi-automatic. And no one, if you play Battle Berlin, which Battle Berlin is close quarters, you are going to have a very, very hard time using the Soviet one and even the German one, because the sights are all over the place. You know, the SKS for the Russians isn't a bad weapon, but 5 rounds, like, that's really bad compared to, like, I mean, a Kar 98K could probably outtrade you at that point. So that's my opinion. I mean, I can see a new players, especially newer players, struggling with this, and this is kind of hard to use. I mean, it's there for the engineer aspect of XP and all that, but other than that, I would, like I said, check out the review if you really like it. I personally would pass on that. Now, 50% off squads for PC and consoles for your console players out there. Start off with Invasion of Normandy, Gewer 41 squad. All right, so I know when this first came out, a lot of people were like, oh, it's just a copy-paste Gewer 41 Engineer squad. Personally, like I said, do I recommend it? I'm going to say it is kind of a good class, because Gewer 41, the Gewer is a good platform. I think 10 rounds, semi-automatic, good for close quarters, good for long-range combat. The Gewer is a good weapon platform. It's also good too because this is an engineer class, so you can build respawn points, anti-tank guns, etc., machine gun nests, anti-aircraft gun emplacements. You have a wide variety of tools at your toolkit, and for half off, it's also a great deal. I had a lot of fun with it. I recommend picking it up. Battle Berlin next, the squad, the M4A2 Sherman 76W. I'm going to say right off, no. And it says, does the cost justify the purchase? Yeah, it's half off. Okay, cool. Is it good? Is it bad? It's situational, because once you take that tank out in a Panzer IV-J, armored or not, a Panther A, or even the Panther, is it the F or the D or whatever, the German Panther that people can unlock from playing the game, from grinding it, or even getting the gold, you know, weapon, or gold or fully maxed out Panther. Like the M4 Sherman in general is not a good tank against tanks. Like, it's great at infantry support, but when it comes up against tanks, it kind of struggles a little bit. The 76 can penetrate a Panzer IV, and it can penetrate the turret cheeks of a Panther, but when it comes into, like, overall T-3485, where T-3485 has more survivability and is just generally better armor, I would go to the T-3485, even when they have the premium one of it right now, the T-34, you know, E. But I've done a review on this. You know, will I enjoy it? I mean, it was fun when it first came out, but I think it's been power crept, and it's kind of just not that strong as it used to be. Now, the next one, and you know, the Squad LaBelle 1886 M93. So I've done a review on that, and I'm going to say yes. The 9-man squads and Enlisted are probably your best investment, because you can go park them somewhere and use as many as you can to get kills. You can go like 30+ kill streaks with it. And, you know, it's very good. The LaBelle, you know, it's a bolt action. I think at 10 rounds or whatever, but it hits hard. It can one-shot. It's really accurate, really easy to use. And it's honestly, like, you'll have a lot of fun using this. You get demo packs, so you can take out tanks. And this is like a Battle Berlin squad for Germans. So keep that in mind. Definitely recommend picking it up. Now, the next one, I know one of my viewers asked me to comment on this and do a review on the Arasaka. So the Squad Arasaka Carbineer 1905 is a Soviet Russian engineer premium squad for Battle of Moscow. Does it justify it? It's kind of debatable. You know, I think it's situational based, and I think some players would struggle with it just because the Arasaka sights are kind of a little weird. You get 5 rounds again, but it's a quick firing carbine, can one-shot and does well in long-range engagements. You also get the flexibility of the toolkit of being an engineer. But, you know, if you play Battle of Moscow and you want to expedite your grind, I mean, this is a tool, you know, a squad you can pick up. But it's definitely something that I don't like, go out and buy right now, like, you know, get it off the shelves. It's just, if you like the gameplay, if you like the review I've done of it, and you really like kind of how it works, then go definitely pick it up and check it out. Now this one, the BF-109 E7, I'm going to hold off on recommending aircraft in general, just because all these premium aircraft are mostly, if not all of them, are fighters. And right now in Enlisted, the way planes are set up is that it's more heavily favoring attacker aircraft, just because attacker aircraft has that flexibility to go bomb, to attack infantry, and then also dogfight. Whereas when you have a fighter, all its role is going to be engaging fighters. And let's be honest, the airspace in Enlisted usually isn't crowded. It's usually more tankers, more infantry based than you really see a lot of players using aircraft. So I would just pass on premium aircraft. I'm going to do reviews on all of the premium aircraft down the road this week. but I've personally have always avoided it just because it's been fighters. There's never been an attacker. There's a premium P47, a premium Stuka, a premium VF110 or whatever. Then I would kind of be like, I could see people picking it up, but you don't get that flexibility. You're just a fighter, which in my opinion, like, what's the point? All right, next we're gonna go and talk about the Battle Moscow Squad I-16 Type 24. Like I said, this is a fighter aircraft. I'll do a review separately on this, same with the rest of these aircraft. The old fighter base, I would avoid them for now just because fighters don't generally, all they do is dogfight. They don't go out and attack ground objectives. They don't go and attack infantry. You can try attacking infantry, but I mean, it's really not going to work that well with main cannon guns. You may get a kill here and there, but you won't get that mass casualty as you would if you, say, took out a P47, a Stuka, or a BF-110. Now moving on with the 30% off for gold for PC and consoles. So Battle Moscow, the Panzer 38T, this is money justify the purchase. Honestly, this is a really cheap premium. It's very good dealing with basically everything up to, let's say, a T50, even a T28 you can penetrate. It's just a short, stubby little tank, moves around the battlefield, very slow, but it can deal with infantry. 37mm gun, fires really quickly. Done a review on it, and I found it enjoyable. It's a very easy, low tier, cheap grinder, especially, they say, if you're playing on the budget or whatever, highly recommend picking it up. Next is the M24 Chaffee. I'm going to say no. I think it's been power crept, especially by introductions of, let's say, the Sherman Firefly and the overpowered Jumbo. Really, you're going to struggle with it just because it's a light tank. It moves around the battlefield quickly, sure, but a 75mm gun on it that's the same as, let's say, the Sherman is going to go and have, struggle. It'll penetrate Pumas. Panzer IIIs, you may struggle a little bit, but let's be honest, at that point, you're driving around a tank that has pretty much no armor, and you can be penetrated by everything that the Germans have. Like, I don't recommend picking it up at all. Same thing with the P51. I don't recommend picking it up since it's a fighter. Same with the BF-109 G6. It's a fighter. I'll do a review on those, but I already know how that's going to be because they're fighters. And like I said, I've been playing fighters versus attackers. There's a big, big difference. The MP-18 for the Invasion of Normandy for the Germans is definitely a really good squad. I recommend it. It's kind of like an Ollie's bargain market. It's actually pretty good. It does well in close quarters, especially if you're an aggressive player. You get full assaulters, take them out, rush the objective. It's actually pretty fun. I did enjoy it. I thought it was pretty good, especially a pretty cheap squad. Next is the PBT-27. PBT-27 is the Soviet Battle of Moscow, Invasion of Moscow, premium assault squad. You can pick it up. Honestly, I didn't like the weapon. I think it's pretty situational based. You're going to be in pretty close quarters to use it. And honestly, I ended up kind of struggling with it too. So kind of would be a hard pass on me on that one. Next one is the BA-11. Honestly, this is going to be, at this point, as a cost justify the purchase. It is a cheap premium, but it's really situational based because you get a 45mm gun. People are going to comment, it's going to be like, it's not an armored car, it's not an armored personnel carrier, but it's pretty much a lightly armored tank or armored car you drive around the battlefield that can pretty much now, with all these power creeps of Panzer IIIJs, Panzer IVs, especially the premium one going around the battlefield, that's going to struggle. Like, this thing is going to struggle really hard against it. So I know newer players are coming in the game and everything like that and be like, well, that'd be pretty fun to use, but you got to think of your higher tier competition, especially higher tier players that have clubbing new players. I would just recommend, if you really are interested in getting a premium, consider the Valentine 3. That's my opinion, but you will struggle with this 100% of the time. You can penetrate other tanks, but you're also going to be easily penetrated. So it's kind of like glass cannon. Next one I'm going to go and talk about is the Panzer IIIM. Personally, I think the Panzer IIIM is a great tank. I definitely would say it's definitely worth picking up. It's actually pretty good. The problem with this one compared to, let's say, the Panzer IV-J and the Vanguard bundle is that the Panzer IV-J is pretty much, slow moving and everything like that, slow hand crank turn traverse, but it has a 75mm gun that can deal with all threats that the Allies have. The 50mm gun, you're going to struggle against, let's say, a Sherman Jumbo. Even the Shermans, you're going to struggle against an M10s maybe. Everything below that, you'll be able to penetrate. So that's kind of the trade-off with it. You also get better mobility, and you should traverse the battlefield quickly, and it does great against dealing with infantry. So keep that in mind when you're playing it and be aware of it. Next, for Battle of Berlin, for Germans, is the Panther A. Panther A, I'm going to say, yes, it's great. Definitely would enjoy picking this up. You will do great with it. It's a great tank. This tank is a terror right now in the Invasion of Normandy and in Battle of Berlin. Literally, if you have this tank up with another Panther, you're going to be unstoppable. It's just because the Panther is a really good tank. So just having a premium version of this for relatively cheap, you'll be able to dominate very well. Next is the M3 Field Modification Squad. Does the money justify the purchase? Yes, it's actually a pretty good Ollie's Market, bargain market, premium tank, premium squad, my correction. And it's also very good, very situational based, but M3, you know, you said M3 grease gun is situational, but you know, it's honestly pretty good at dealing with close quarters, even a little bit for range engagements. The M3 grease gun's not that bad. I know people will probably just, you know, hate it, but you know, I feel it's more reliable than a Thompson, whereas Thompson, just the recoil management is insane. So you would do well with this, especially if you're a new player and you like to be aggressive. Definitely recommend picking it up. It will go and expedite your grind. Next, this one I would highly recommend of all the Engineer Premium Squads. Does the money justify the purchase? Of course, I would go with the Johnson M1941. Go get it. It is a great gun. You get like 10 rounds. Just really good, stable weapon firing platform. You can one-shot Germans. And you get the toolkit of an engineer. It's really easy to pick up. You will enjoy it. You will do great. It is a great weapon. And lastly, the Beretta M1918 for the Battle of Moscow for the Germans. So this squad, in my opinion, is situational based. Does well in close quarters and everything like that. But other than that, it can kind of struggle in longer range engagements, and it burns through the magazine very quickly. So you may struggle with it if you are a newer player. But if you reach this point in the video, I hope this kind of helped you out with my perspectives. If you want more in-depth reviews, click my Enlisted review, premium review playlist. Whatever premium squad or tank you're kind of looking at buying, and kind of watch my review, my commentary as I go in depth about it. This is kind of just a general overview buying list that I recommend my subscribers, possibly new viewers, watching and everything like that to see what I take away. Just because I've invested a lot of my time in this game and my money. And, at the end of the day, it's kind of my thought process. Usually, for you as a viewer, I recommend following just because, let's be honest, you can go buy all the premium and, squads and stuff in the game, but, what is relatively going to be useful for you, what is not going to be a total piece of junk, in my opinion, right? And that's kind of a problem we see in a lot of free-to-play games, especially War Thunder, for example. Some of the vehicles that you get, premium-wise are kind of bad, and then, you're really just sitting there as a lame duck trying to go and grind a tech tree, and you have a really bad vehicle. So, other than that, I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for stopping by, and take care.